Okay.
Mayor, I'd like to call the regular meeting of the Elmwood Park Mayor and Council to order for October 16th, 2014 at 8:04 p.m. On roll call, council members Coletti. Here. Dombrowski. Here. Martino. Here. Catagano is absent due to illness. Bonsino.
Here.
Catamagna.
Here.
Mayor Mola.
Here.
We have a quorum.
Thank you. Will everyone please rise for a prayer and flag salute? Oh God, our Father, we ask you to bless our meeting, which we trust to your fatherly care and protection. Please remove all selfishness and prejudice from our hearts and plant therein a keen sense of justice for you and our neighbor. Guide us in our deliberations so our decisions will always please you and bring peace and happiness to our community. Amen. I pledge
Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
But don't say. Whereas Chapter 231 of the Public Laws of the State of New Jersey requires the commencement of each meeting a statement of compliance by the presiding officer. Now therefore be advised, the meeting requirements of this meeting have been met by posting an annual notice in the regular packet sack, the Herald News of Woodland Park by posting such notice in the office of the Borough Clerk as well as a public place within the municipal building and by notifying interested citizens. Said notice was posted on January 1, 2014. Ladies and gentlemen, this meeting is being videotaped for cable channel 77, the cable network, Tuesday at 12 noon, Thursday at 4 p.m., and Friday at 10 a.m. Tuesday 12 noon, Thursday 4 p.m., Friday 10 a.m., or you can see it on our website. Thank you.
Mayor, this evening under the approval of minutes, we have the September 25th, 2014 work session, the October 2nd, 2014 regular meeting, and the October 9th, 2014 executive session.
Motion, please.
Move. Second.
Mr. Catamagna, Mr. Martino, any discussion?
Yes, Mayor, just Keith, the October 2nd, I need to abstain. I was ill then.
Okay.
So designated, call the roll, please.
On roll call, council members Coletti.
Yes.
Dombrowski.
Yes.
Martino.
Yes.
Catagano is absent. Bonsino.
Yes, with the exception of October 2nd.
Catamagna.
Yes.
Motion carries. Mayor, this evening, under ordinances, on first reading, we have Resolution 355-14, introduce ordinance 14-23 on first reading. Be it resolved that an ordinance entitled An Ordinance to Fix the Salary, Wage, and Compensation of the Police Officers of the Borough of Elmwood Park, County of Bergen, State of New Jersey, from January 1st, 2015 through December 31st, 2019, be passed and adopted on first reading. And be it resolved that a final hearing on said ordinance will be heard in the municipal building on Thursday, November 6, 2014, at 8 p.m. or soon thereafter, as same can be heard, at which time and place all persons interested in said ordinance can be heard. Be it further resolved that the Borough Clerk be and he is hereby authorized to advertise in a legal newspaper a notice of introduction and final hearing as required by law.
Motion, please.
So moved.
Mr. Bonsino, second.
Second.
Mr. Catamagna, any discussion?
Mayor,
Roll
if
call.
Mayor, if
I'm
I
sorry.
may, I just want to advise the governing body and the public, this is the first reading of the ordinance that will govern the new contract from the dates mentioned. There was one typographical error that came over in the contract document from the PBA attorney that is currently being corrected. So the ratification of the contract will be slated for November 6th, as will final adoption of this ordinance, which will set the salary starting 1/1/15.
Any comments?
Yes, Mayor. As Mr. Kazmark mentioned, this is the first reading on our new PBA contract. Last public meeting, we discussed the memorandum of understanding with the PBA. I was absent that meeting, but I just wanted to make a comment on the negotiations. We had an excellent series of discussions between the governing body and the PBA. The PBA president, Mr. Santowski, and his team listened to our concerns and our presentation, and likewise we heard what the PBA had to say and what was important to them. And with Mr. Kazmark facilitating that meeting, we had a very efficient series of meetings that culminated with this contract that we're introducing tonight. Thank you, Mayor.
Thank you. Anyone else? Thank you. Call the roll, please.
On roll call, Councilmembers Coletti?
Yes.
Dombrowski?
Yes.
Martino?
Yes.
Pettigano is absent. Bonsino?
Yes.
Catamania?
Yes.
Motion carries. Mayor, this evening under the consent agenda, we have Resolution 356-14, payment of bills. Resolution 357-14, confirmation of escrow. Resolution 358-14, confirmation of payroll. Resolution 359-14, approval to submit NJDOT grant application for Boulevard Improvement Project Section 10. Resolution 360-14, appoint employees for the winter break 2015 and the spring break 2015 Recreation Department Camp Program. Resolution 361-14, appoint full-time laborer John Stankiewicz Jr. for the Department of Public Works. Resolution 362-14, appointment full-time crossing guard for the Police Department. Resolution 363-14, appoint junior firefighter, company number 1. Resolution 364-14, appoint firefighter, company number 2. Resolution 365-14, resolution authorizing the use of the municipal building all-purpose room for mobilization for Animal Rights Incorporated. Resolution 366-14, approve the curfew for Mischief Night and Halloween to be enforced by the Elmwood Park Police Department. Resolution 367-14, authorize design services for improvements to Boulevard Sections 8 and 9 to the Alimo Group. Resolution 368-14, authorize design services for resurfacing of Iozia Terrace, Court Street, and Franklin Street with the Alimo Group. And Resolution 369-14, approval to submit the 2014 open space grant application for the installation of a hockey rink and lighting.
Motion, please. So moved. Mr. Martino, second.
Second?
Mr. Dombrowski, any discussion?
Mayor, if I
Yes.
may, can we pull R 369-14? Approval to submit 2014 open space application and treat it separately?
You want that? Okay, second on that?
Second.
Second by Mr. Bonsino. Any discussion? Call the roll on taking that out of the consent count.
On roll call of the consent agenda, absent Resolution 369-14. Council members Coletti?
Yes.
Dombrowski?
Yes.
Martino?
Yes.
Pettigano is absent. Bonsino?
Yes.
Catamania?
Yes.
Motion carries.
May I have a motion to vote on the consent agenda, please?
So moved.
Mr. Coletti, second.
Second.
Mr. Bonsino, discussion? Call the roll, please.
On roll call, council members Coletti?
Yes.
Dombrowski?
Yes.
Martino?
Yes.
Pettigano is absent. Bonsino?
Yes.
Catamania?
Yes.
To be voted on in a separate matter, we have approval to submit the 2014 open space application for the installation of hockey rink and lighting. Now therefore be it resolved by the Mayor and Council of the Borough of Elmwood Park formally approves the grant application to be submitted for the above stated project. Be it further resolved that the Mayor and Council are hereby authorizing the Alimo Group to submit a grant application on behalf of the Borough of Elmwood Park. And be it further resolved that the Mayor and Clerk are hereby authorized to sign the grant agreement on behalf of the Borough of Elmwood Park, and that their signature constitutes acceptance of the terms and conditions of the grant agreement and approves the execution of said grant agreement.
Motion, please.
So moved.
Mr. Bonsino, second.
Second?
Mr. Dombrowski, any discussion?
Mayor, if I may?
Yes.
Tonight, I will be voting yes on this resolution. However, I feel the proposed location of the rink at Beryl Field isn't cost-effective. The matching taxpayer dollars are being wasted when you factor in the fencing, the paving adjustments, and existing light relocation. If the rink was to be placed at English Ave, none of those costs would exist. I do believe that the rec board had it right when they proposed the rink's location to be at English Avenue. Thank you.
Thank you. Any other comments?
Yes, Mayor, if I may. Councilman Coletti, you're saying that you wouldn't need a fence, you wouldn't need to change the light post, that I'll agree with, but you would need a pad, you would need to extend, at Borough Field, if we're to put this hockey rink, you're going to extend a pad. You're going to extend the fence that goes around it.
If you put a hockey rink at English Avenue where there is just ground and grass, you're going to need a pad and you're going to need fence, so it's not waste of taxpayer money. What we are doing is taking a light pole that's in the middle of the basketball court, which is already a danger. It's right in the middle so that these kids running around, either driving their bicycles or whatever, can slam right into it. We're moving that pole closer to the fence. That's basically the only thing that we're spending more money on, but that's also for a safety issue, so.
Any other comments? Call the roll, please.
On roll call, council members Coletti?
Yes.
Dombrowski?
Yes.
Martino?
Yes.
Pettigano is absent. Vansino?
Yes.
Catamagna.
Yes.
Motion carries. Mayor, this evening, under departmental reports, we have the Police Department report for September, the Municipal Court report for September, and the Finance Department report from January 1st, 2014.
May I have a
October
motion to
7th.
receive and file, please? Mr. Martino, second. Mr. Coletti, any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed, so voted. Committee reports. Let's start with you on the weak side over here, Mr. Martino.
Weak side, wow.
There's only two people here.
But that means it's stronger, Mayor,
You tell us.
because we can handle it.
That's the blind side. If you remember the movie.
We're getting it from both sides.
Okay.
Mr. Martino of the strong side.
Well, in about 15 days, it's going to be a year that I'm here. I've learned a lot. I think I've been respectful to everybody on the mayor, the people, and the council. And hopefully my next 2 years and so months go the same way. That's all I have to say today.
Thank you. Mr. Coletti, counsel,
From the weak side.
on either side.
Pursuant to JIF, the Joint Insurance Fund, excuse me. Good news, our premium is staying flat next year, and our dividend is actually going up. Now, that means the town's exposure to claims is less than other towns. And it shows we are cognizant of our safety procedures. Well, let's stay the course on that. The fire department is seeking new recruits. Anyone interested, call the fire department. The phone number is 201-796-3939, or you can call me at 201-797-4221, and I will put you in touch with the person in charge of the new recruits. And just one final note on the rec. At our week work meeting on October 9th, there was a proposal for our town engineer for $45,000 to develop a plan for our parks. Now, in the past, our rec board and rec director, who attends the yearly municipal convention in AC to seek new ideas and products, would bring those ideas to us in the rec board for consideration and planning. Why we need to spend $45,000 to acquire a planner, whereas it was being done in the past at no cost by our people, is a wonder to me. Mayor?
Thank you. Mr. Catamagna?
Even progress, the only thing I have to say is I want to wish Joe Dombrowski a happy birthday, 50 years old today.
Happy birthday.
So,
Don't say the age.
I got my AARP card today.
I said 50 years old. I'm 69, I'm almost 20 years older than he is.
Thank you.
Eat my food, look like me one day. Thank you, I have anything else to say.
How do I follow up on that?
Thank you.
Pasta is...
Mr. Dombrowski?
Okay, well, thank you very much, Council President Catamagna. Thank you very much. I appreciate that. From the Chamber of Commerce, I just would like to let everybody know that on November 21st, at 6:30 p.m., they will be holding a Hypnotic Night Out beefsteak at the Bethwood Catering Hall in Totowa, New Jersey. The cost is $65 per person. It's going to be a great night. They're going to have a hypnotist by the name of Stephen Christopher. He happens to be a G-rated, so it's not like you have to feel embarrassed if you're going to come. So it's a very good program, and it's something that would be very nice. Also, this week we had a chamber meeting at Maya Adult Daycare. It is a first of its kind adult daycare in our area. It's located in Elmwood Park on next to Dorwin on Midland Avenue. It's actually part of the same building. It's a very, very nice facility. This facility is not only, it's brand new, so it's very, very clean and very neat, but it's got a great concept for, if you take your children to daycare while you go to work, why can't you take your parent to a daycare facility and know that they're taken care of? So I think it's a good idea, and I think it'll go over well. And they have a very nice hall that is up for rent as well. So if you have any questions, you could call them, and they would be more than happy to discuss that with you. If you have a parent that's interested, by all means, consider that. Basically, I'd like to just comment on one of the comments that Councilman Coletti mentioned about spending money on a master plan for the parks. For a while now, we've been asking about a master plan. We were actually told last year by at the time, the Rec Commission, that they had a master plan. Well, we found out that they didn't. They found out that they had a concept in discussion, but nothing written down. So there was really nothing ever done up until just recently. And yes, we do need to have a master plan. And yes, it is going to cost us some money. But I also would like to make a comment that we also hired an engineer to do a master plan for our business district. I don't understand. If we're trying to progress our town, it's going to take money to do these types of things. So I don't get it. Recreation, business area, it costs money to do a master plan. Other than that, last night we had a meeting with the Board of Health, and we're moving forward to try to fulfill the vacancy of our director who has recently retired. So I'll keep you posted on that. The rest is progress.
Thank you. Mr. Vancino.
Yes, Mayor, thank you. On the police department, I already commented on the PBA contract. This week, Chief Foligno forwarded a letter from a visitor to our town who witnessed, while he was in town, I guess, a medical emergency in progress. And he wrote a very nice letter to the Bergen County prosecutor complimenting, and I'll quote it, the extraordinary police and rescue efforts by Sergeant Wren, Officer Hartman, and Officer Civelli of our police department. And it's a very nice letter, and it really speaks to the efforts of our police department, but also our ambulance corps and fire department volunteers. I know when we dedicated the police memorial a few weeks ago, I had commented, and I also commented for the ambulance corps 50th anniversary, we don't tend to think of these first responders as we go about our business, because typically it involves a crime being committed, an emergency to ourselves, but they're there when we need them. I think I related that night before the police dedication. I was in Patterson at my in-laws' house. My father-in-law needed an ambulance. I waited outside for about 10 minutes or so, seemed like an eternity, for just the ambulance to show up. And I couldn't help but think, here in Elmwood Park, if that happened, police would be at our homes within minutes. And not only one officer, but probably two officers. And we are very fortunate in Elmwood Park to have that kind of, those kind of professionals in town. Tomorrow, Chief Foligno and his staff are going to kick off the accreditation process with the Rogers Group, and we look forward to working and supporting that effort down in our police department. On the ambulance corps, I have a couple of things to hold up. First, with Halloween approaching, it's their Night of Horror and Haunted House, and it's Friday, October 31st, and Saturday, November 1st, 7 p.m. to 9 p.m. at 236 Falmouth Avenue. I'll hold that up. That's a nice big one. Thank you, Reed. Got that? And then the second ambulance corps is a ZD dinner fundraiser called Back to the 80s. So 80s attire is recommended, but not required. It'll be on Saturday, November 8th at the American Legion Hall at Legion Place in Elmwood Park, 7:30 to 11:30. There's a phone number here. You can call Dee, 201-916-5032, Michelle, 201-982-4171, or call the Ambulance Corps Building, 201-796-8077. and I'll hold that up. That might be a little tough to read, but
Zoom in.
zoom in.
A lot of hairspray going that day.
So, I just wanted to clarify, in today's community news, I voted no on the direction taken at English Ave at last week's work meeting. And I just wanted to make sure you know, I'm not against improvements at English Ave. In fact, I've advocated addressing that park over the years I've been on council. I disagreed with the decision to alter the plan that was developed by our rec commissioners over the last 2 years. There was really no real reason why we had to alter that plan. Initially, the majority stated we had no plan. I think we heard a little bit of that tonight. But there was a plan. This plan here, and I'll hold that up, this existed. It existed last year in 2013. Our rec commissioners reviewed it with the governing body. We had the opportunity to ask questions. So indeed, there was a plan for English Ave Park. At the end, they hung their hat on safety, citing serious concerns of crime at English Avenue. I talked to our chief subsequent to last week's work meeting, and I asked him to look at the data at English Ave and Borough Field. And there were two incidents at each park since the beginning of the year. So I don't know that safety really is a prime concern. And I don't want to put the chief in the middle of this because I don't want him to be in the middle of a political disagreement. It just seems like we play a fear card, whether it's coyotes chasing us down out of the woods in the park, or serious crimes happening in our park where we're afraid to even go out there to leverage a decision we're going to make. And we should be making decisions here for our residents based on fact, and simply that. Going against the recommendations of the advisory board, the majority's going to install lights at English Ave. And I think that's a wrong direction because we simply haven't vetted the impact of lights at that area of town where it's surrounded by residential properties. It may be some point in the future it would warrant lights, but I don't think we've done our due diligence in that case, and that's my opinion. I also contend that there may be plans to move the bomber program down to English Ave, and I think that would be short-sighted without considering a significant traffic impact that could occur on the one street leading into English Ave Park and on East 54th, and I think that would be a disservice to our neighbors in that area if that indeed happens. So the project really should have been finished in 2014 and not retooled and delayed in 2014. Councilman Pagano is not here, but he told us last week he walked through Borough Field and determined that we could shoehorn in the hockey rink adjacent to the basketball courts. And we're basing tonight's, on our consent agenda, we had the open space request for the hockey rink at Borough Field. But what's interesting is we're making a decision to put the hockey rink at Borough Field, but there's no plan. It was just Councilman Pagano walking the park with our engineer. No plan. So our rec commissioners are chastised for not having a plan, but they have a plan. But now we voted on money, but there's no plan. There's no drawing to look at to say, what does that look like? Does it make sense? Or anything to that effect. So it seems like for us in the minority, we need to have a plan. But if the majority wants a direction, they don't need a plan. I don't know what that's about. I may be repetitive here. A little over a year ago, when we applied for the open space, the second part of the English Ave grant, Councilman Pagano, Councilman Caramagna, and then candidate Dombrowski spoke passionately about the need to improve Cherry Hill. It was a top priority, and they wanted us to not pass that request for open space last year. But nothing this year, right? Cherry Hill didn't even come up this year. So I'm wondering what the residents of Cherry Hill are thinking, and were they being used last year? And I should correct myself. Last week, Councilman Caramagna did bring up Cherry Hill. He did mention Cherry Hill, but it fell on deaf ears. So perhaps he was being used last year as well. And speaking of plans, Councilman Coletti talked about a plan that we've asked our engineer to prepare to create a plan for our parks in town. and our engineer came back with an estimate of $45,000. That's 3 man-months worth of work, $45,000. I'm all in favor for planning. You know, I'm an engineer, and I work from a plan, a set of drawings, and requirements. So I'm all for planning. But 3 man-months to decide what we need to do with the parks, where we had very passionate residents who did it for nothing and decided it. If we're going to go forward with this plan, better be some very serious pencil sharpening, as Councilman Coletti refers to it, if we're going to approve that. And while I'm talking about engineering, earlier in the year, at the beginning of the year, when we switched engineers, Councilman Dombrowski talked about how we'd save about 20% on engineering fees. In fact, he went through and he described the rate differential between our present engineer and Boswell Engineering and pointed out maybe we'd realize a 20% savings on engineering. But what he failed to realize, or what the majority failed to realize, is that engineering, borough engineering, is based on a percentage of the project costs. So, yeah, our engineers' rates may be 20% lower, but the number of hours they charge to the project will be 20% higher, because it's just 15% of the project cost. So there is going to be no savings. So essentially, all we did in 2014 is just experience change for the sake of change, and we sacrificed experience. The mayor has this saying, if you talk to the mayor, he says, "Where are we going?" And, you know, I can honestly say in 2014, I feel personally we took a giant step backwards in town, and it's not a good feeling. Thank you, Mayor.
Thank you.
Mayor, if I may respond to Mr. Dombrowski's comments?
Let me just go to the judge. Judge, you have any comments?
No, thank you for progress.
Responding to Mr. Dombrowski's comments about the engineering fees for Market Street, comparing Market Street and the fact, and I think we all can agree that it needs to be revitalized, and comparing that fee of $15,000 to our parks that don't need to be revitalized. Yes, they need to be tweaked here and there, which our rec department was doing a great job at over the years. We needed somehow to cool our children off in the summer. We went, we vetted a water park. There's a water park there now. We knew we needed more lights. You can't see the ball in the air. We went and applied and we put in more lights. You don't have to be a nuclear scientist to see what a park needs. And once again, I will reiterate the fact that we send our rec department head to AC on the convention to pick up these ideas and to spend 3 days there finding out what's new, what applies to these parks. So to compare the two is apples to oranges. Thank you, Mayor.
Mayor, if I may.
This is the last rebuttal back and forth.
Okay.
Do I get
Well,
to rebut him?
it's the last one before the election, Mayor, so it's the last one that your guys and us will be able to tell the public, so.
Why did we
I
bring the
appreciate-
election up, Joe?
Huh?
Why did we bring the election up?
I think it's happening in a couple days, isn't it?
Oh,
Thank you.
okay.
To Councilman Vancino stated that there was a plan written for English Avenue Park. That's true. What we're trying to do is put a master plan together for all the parks, not just one park, okay? And yes, I'm sorry if Councilman Coletti feels that the kids aren't just as important as business in this town. That's his choice of words. You know, I didn't say it, but he did. So to me, it is important that we have a master plan. And you know, on top of it, it is the Republican majority last year or 2 years ago that agreed to put money together to put a plan together to widen River Road. We put $9,000, if I'm not mistaken, to widen River Road, okay? And now we have a master plan to do our business. You know, you start adding, you know, there's many parks in this town, okay? So that's why it takes, and that also includes the marina. So yes, there is a master plan that is going to be put together for the parks. Yes, there was a plan for English Avenue that was not acceptable to the rec director, and it has now been revamped. So I just, that's it.
Anyone in the audience who wants to be heard? I'll open it to the public. I don't have any comments. Name and address, please.
Keith Worth, 308 Gilbert Avenue. All I can say after reading the article this morning about council approved Singles Ave Park improvements for a total amount of $360,000, I gotta say, what a difference a year makes. Just want to read some excerpts from letters that were sent to their to the shopper last year. In the first letter, Democrats implored residents to attend August 22nd council meeting and speak out against $160,000 in funding that the council was voting on toward English Avenue improvements. Second letter is the famous letter, dated September 2nd, accuses Republican council and members of fiscal irresponsibility, stating that $80,000 is derived from local taxpayer funding, which you all found that is not true. And the letter argues that English Avenue received the bulk of improvements for over 2 years and cites Republican councilmen and influence over the rec commission as a reason. So that's why they got in, became councilmen, and now voted to approve $360,000. How much money was going to Cherry Hill Park? I found out zero. These poor residents were basically screwed. Let's be honest about it. They got in as councilmen, they made some promises, they didn't keep them. Terrible. Also, I know Councilman Dombrowski mentioned about the children. I understand there's consideration that they're planning to remove the stipends. Now, the stipends go to children that play in organizations not affiliated with the recreation department. That's the football program, the softball program, and the Little League program. Basically talking about 800 to about 900 children. Stipend totals about $12.50 per child. They're planning on removing that, but yet they want to spend $45,000 for a planner to plan our parks, which they've been planning for the last few years by the rec commission for nothing. I don't understand. The kids don't mean anything anymore. We want to plan for the parks, but you need kids to play in them. You can't offer these children $12.50 as you've done in the past, both Democrats and Republicans together, and the rec commission when they came up, and now they're planning to take it away. Why? What's the reason for that?
Mr. Work, if I may, Councilman Pettigano's not here, but in the last meeting that we had, I believe it was Mr. DiLorenzo who had also asked that question, and I know that Councilman Pettigano stated that he's not in favor of removing the stipends. I also stated that I wasn't in favor of removing the stipends, and quite frankly, it's really not up to us. That is pretty much up to Donna and the rec advisors under their advice. So, but we're not in favor of removing them. I think we made it clear in the last meeting.
Okay. Understand. Next question. Being that the mayor and council are running the recreation programs, or I should say Donna's, but they had since the rec commission now advisory board. There was a parent came up to me asking about who handles, when injury occurs in one of the rec programs. I'm not going to mention names, who they are. They just asked me the question, and basically it had to do with a child. Apparently he got hurt during a practice when he mentioned sport, and he got knocked out cold. Apparently parents told me about it, and so, okay, well, as long as the coach mentioned it too, they weren't even told. They didn't find out until a couple days later when another parent said, "How's your son doing?" because he got knocked out of practice. Now, I don't know what happened, don't know. And the coach, the parent asked me, what is the situation when I said, listen, I ran basketball programs, baseball programs. I said, that coach has your child, and during practice, during a game, that coach is responsible. It is the coach's responsibility to send in an accident report, either to the rec. If it's a baseball, it's got to come to our safety director. Football, it's got to go to the president. Each program has the bylaws and rules for the coaches. And I just asked the question, what is the rule of the rec pro? I mean, I know basketball follows it, depends there. Anytime there's an accident, it's reported.
Yeah.
What is the rules? I mean, it sounds like...
I think it's very simple. Every coach in this town has to take the Rutgers certification.
Right.
And as part of the Rutgers certification, you are informed that you are to go to the league advisor. Certain paperwork must be filled out. If this is a true case and it's a negligent case, then this coach this information should be brought to Donna, and this coach will be handled by whatever league it is. But excuse me, Mr. Work, I'm sorry. You know, you and I coached, different teams in different sports, but we all took the same Rutgers course, and we all have taken the precautions, and we know what we're supposed to do as coaches. First of all, if there's a child that's completely knocked out, I don't care, you call the ambulance, okay? You don't try to revive them, you don't try to move them, you call the ambulance. So, again, I'm not questioning the legitimacy of the person's information to you. I am going to say, though, that we as coaches do know what we need to do.
I know, but, I mean, just to give you, show you some of that. I don't know if they have anything like this, I'm sure they must have it. And this is Little League, this is action notification form. These forms need to be filled out, and activities reporting at safety awareness programs, injury act tracking report. These reports need to be filed out. If anybody's injured in Little League, have them returned into the league office like within 20 days. So they're covered, so the coach is covered. You want to be, I mean, they can't, and now listen, I'm not sure if this, if this is true or not.
No.
And I told them, I said, listen, you should come to the mayor and council and bring it up. I mean,
Absolutely.
I can't. I'm just asking about the procedure. I'm sure, I know especially with concussions, they did find out, he told them later, 3 days later, they found he had a concussion. I said, listen, you gotta bring, that's,
Completely agree with you.
you gotta bring it to mayor and council, go to the, recreation office. That did happen, but, I'll ask what the procedure is usually. I mean, especially today, here you're taking concussion testing. Coaches have to take CPR. You get background checks. It's important that your children that are under, that while you're practicing, you're responsible. They become your kids.
Absolutely.
Through you, Mayor. Mr. Work, do you know what sport this was?
I'm not even sure. That's what I can find out.
So we don't know if it was a rec program or one of the
It was a rec
independent.
program.
We know it was a rec program, but we don't know which sport it was?
Maybe soccer. I mean, he came out of blue, asked me all these sorts of questions, and I said, listen, I'm not a councilman anymore, I'm not involved in rec. I said, you should really come to the, recreation department or the, mayor and council.
But it could be football or one of the,
It wasn't football.
Independent.
It was a rec.
wasn't football, but.
It was a rec program.
Thank you.
Okay, thank you.
Do you have an approximate time frame on this? I mean, I feel that we have an obligation to follow up now that it's being brought out at a public
He
meeting.
didn't go, and he just asked me what was the protocol of other leagues, because he knows the president.
Within the last week, within the
Oh,
last
no,
month?
He spoke to me the other night.
So within the last
Yeah, within the last 2 days.
2 days?
Anyone else who wish to be heard?
Good evening. Douglas DiMatteo, 262 Lincoln Ave. I was here last month, Mr. Kazmark, about private graduation coin toss.
Yes.
You told me to come to your office. I had a representative come to the office, and she got the runaround. And she left kind of discouraged.
She didn't see me because I,
That was the problem. She spoke to the secretary. It went around and around, and the lady walked out like, I don't know what to do. So I'll
Mr.
talk to
DiMatteo,
them,
with
find
all
out.
due respect, I pride myself on returning every phone call and returning a follow-up to every inquiry made to my office,
She
so
mentioned you go to
I'm
see
pretty
Chief
confident
Lingo.
with all due respect, I'm pretty confident that if she left her name and number, I personally would have given her a phone call back. I do know that you and I spoke about it. You indicated you were going to come in and I was going to get the information from the chief of police. You never visited, so
No, I couldn't come in. That's why I had another lady from the organization come down.
I'll be here 9 o'clock tomorrow morning, so if you have her reach out to me, I will hook her up with Chief Foligno and we will get you the necessary information.
The lady, the secretary said just to go see Chief Foligno, so I'm like, do I just bypass you to go see Chief Foligno, or do I have to go see you to go see Chief Foligno?
If you come to me, I'll get you the paperwork.
But why wouldn't she get the paperwork that day? I'm confused.
Well, first of all, I don't know that my deputy or the assistant municipal clerk in my office was aware of the conversations that you and I had.
But my point is that I didn't realize it had to come through me, through her. If she went there to get the paperwork, why wouldn't she just get the paperwork?
Because the chief had the paperwork, and I indicated to you that I would get it from the chief and provide it to you. And if the person who you had sent as your representative would have left their contact information with my office, I would have certainly gotten back to them and made sure that either you or she was given the information regarding the coin toss from Chief Foligno.
What is the time frame if I go down tomorrow or Monday to get this thing taken care of, because we're running out of time before the winter comes in.
If
She
you-
made an example saying that you're not gonna get it in until December. Not like December.
Well, there's a process. It needs to be, a letter needs to be written requesting specific dates, needs to be considered at a work session of the council. We have one next Thursday. And then there's a public meeting on November the 6th. If it's beyond that, then it's going to get pushed off to December because we don't have another public meeting until December the 4th.
Especially the meaning of the letter will be just the corners and the timeframe and dates that we're looking for.
If someone comes to see me tomorrow, you'll have the information from Chief Foligno. If I have a letter by Tuesday at noon, it'll be incorporated in the council's meeting packet for Thursday evening. It'll be discussed, and if the council authorizes it, there'll be a resolution on for November the 6th.
Okay, all right, thank you.
Anyone else?
Good evening, Mayor and Council. Dan Goldbeck, 44 Godwin Ave. I just have one comment in regards to the new police vehicles or the new police vehicle style. I've noticed in the last half year or so, a lot of the patrol vehicles have gone from the traditional, white side with police written on it to a dark black with gold lettering. And at first I assumed it was just undercover operations or a strategic thing. But I've noticed that they're used at all times of the day. In fact, when there are 3 or 4 patrol cars out, the majority of them are these vehicles. And it kind of let it sit in my head, and I've picked a few brains of friends and people in town. And I don't know what the strategic benefit is. I don't know if it's just a police department decision, but I think it's unwelcoming. I think it gives off, considering the environment in our nation, it gives off a very militarized look. When someone sees that vehicle, if they can even tell it's a police vehicle right away, it doesn't say protect and serve, I guess everyone else can have their own impression, but it doesn't look welcoming like a police department should when it's patrolling the streets of the town. So that's just my 2 cents, for everyone to digest. Thank you.
Anyone else? If not, I'll close the public portion of the meeting. May I have a motion to adjourn?
So moved.
Moved by Mr. Martino, second by Mr. Catamagna. All in favor? Opposed? So ordered. Joe, you did another great job. I tell you, I just can't.
Mayor, were you saying that to me?